Good evening, board members and Mr. Gonzalez and district staff. The time is 6 p.m. on this 12th day of July 2022, and I call this business committee meeting of United Independent School District to order. The following board members are present:
Ricardo Molina, Sr.
and Ricardo Molina.
Yes.
Can you hear it?
Yes, Ricardo Molina, Sr.
Let the record show that this meeting has been duly called and that the notice of this meeting has been posted in accordance to the Texas Open Meetings Act. Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Agenda item number 2, public comments.
At this time, we have none, sir.
Okay, we go to agenda item number 3, informational items. Item A, budget for 2023 updates report regarding 2022-2023 public meetings in regards to the annual budget information and proposal text.
Good evening, Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Molina, Mr. Gonzalez, attorneys, members of the audience. What we're discussing here is for us to make a public announcement that we will be holding a public meeting at 6 p.m. on Wednesday, August 17th, which is the day of the regular board meeting in August, at the United ISD Student Activity Complex Fine Arts Building. The purpose of the meeting will be to discuss the school district's budget and the proposed tax rate, and we will invite public participation. The notice of this meeting will be published in the Laredo Morning Times 10 days before, which will be Sunday, August 7th. And then we do plan to hopefully bring you all a draft budget in the August Business Committee, because by then we would have had our certified values that we should get after July 25th. And then we calculate the tax rate and do the publication. So that's the plan for the rest of July and August.
Okay.
Very good.
Mr. Molina, any questions, Mr. Molina?
No questions. Thank you.
Item B, presentation of the elementary and secondary schools emergency relief, ESSER 3, return to the in-person instruction and continuity of services and use of funds plans revision.
This, what we're going to present tonight, it's twofold. I'll be presenting the update on the use of funds, and Ms. Rendon will be presenting the update on the return to in-person instruction. This grant requires that we do a 6-month review. The last time we did a review was in January, so we're within that 6-month period. And just real quickly on the plan, the funds, you'll see there how we've outlined where we're still geared towards spending more than 20% of this grant, which was required on learning loss. You'll see a lot of items such as summer school, after school, summer programs, high dosage tutoring, interactive panels, the Family Engagement Center, online programs for academic support, everything that we feel working with CNI that will get our students back on track and bring them to grade level in reading, et cetera. So we feel this is a good plan. We will make a budget amendment to TEA to continue to support some of these things. On the right-hand side, you still see some things for safety. We will be bringing to you the UVC germicidal project later on this year, I think in August or September. And then, of course, we still have money set aside for COVID teams and nurse aides, just in case a surge comes back. We still have some money there for staff to help those kind of situations. You'll also see that we have planned to use about $15 million for that one-time payment that the board approved in June for all employees, the $2,000. So we feel this is a good plan as of right now. And again, every 6 months, we'll come and revisit it. Yes.
Okay, thank you. Item C.
Well, and then Ms. Rendon's going to do the safety.
Yes, that's our, sorry.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Good evening, members of the board, members of the audience, Mr. Gonzalez and the attorneys. We bring forth our 22-23 school year COVID-19 health and safety protocols. There really is no major change to our protocols. We do have some, they have been working since February of 2022 that we have implemented them. We continue to track and monitor guidance from our CDC. And so just to kind of give you the background, of course, we know that masks cannot be required but recommended.
So they're not going to be mandated?
No, sir, we cannot mandate. And so we continue to do the self-screenings for our staff and our students and our visitors, of course, as well. We do have limited access to the classrooms. We will continue to implement that, hopefully through appointments. I think we have learned that Google and Zoom meetings with even our parents or phone calls have been effective as well. So we will continue to do those measures. We continue to do the COVID testing as well with the rapid testing system. And we're promoting vaccines as well, continue. Tomorrow, on Thursday specifically, we have another vaccine clinic at Herrera Middle School for the pediatric children. And so we are continuing to be a provider, and we will continue to push and promote those.
At what age are you all still taking
We're doing
vaccines?
6 months, if I'm not mistaken, all the pediatric, all the way to adults. So we have boosters, we have all types of vaccines. Our nursing department has a system in place because it's a certain color of the vials that we utilize. So they've been very effective right now. There are no students in our school, so our campuses have been used for that. Come the fall semester, we will probably continue with those evening clinics and probably those Saturday clinics with our nursing department as well, because we know that in October, they're already recommending another booster for the variant that is out there. So that's in the works as well. Our nursing staff is compensated. Mr. Gonzalez did approve that for after-hour clinics. Our business department also supports that as well. So we will continue to monitor and provide those vaccines in our clinic. I think those have been beneficial. We continue to track our cases. We do have on the student side, and we have the employee side, that we continue to track individuals who are positives. And so that's still on our webpage. I think that has shown our community that we are very transparent in numbering the individual cases that we have at each campus, whether it be an adult or whether it be students. So we will continue to implement those procedures. We will continue to watch for symptoms, and of course, stress that if you are sick, stay home. I know we're shooting for 90% attendance at the curriculum instruction level. They set that standard for all of our students, but of course, we don't want individual students who are sick. Our nursing staff, we will retrain, and any new individual who comes in, we're implementing the same procedures that we had, where we quarantine, we isolate, and of course, at the very end, and you'll see this, these are all our protocols that we have in place. If a student is positive, if the students have symptoms, and of course, that step 3 is key for us, because that still is beneficial not only for the students, because they do not miss out on instruction, all right? And so that is critical for us, because we still want to continue closing those instructional gaps. And so we will continue to offer that remote conferencing due to a COVID-19 positive. And so it's a 6-day period. On day 6, they can return if they are symptom-free or the symptoms have improved in that sense. So this is for the employees and the close contact as well. And we will continue to track and monitor the EPSL at the district level. And of course, the close contact for our employees as well. At the end, remote conferencing for us, it's not only loss of instructional time that we can recoup, but it is also ADA that we also recoup. And so the procedures from the state have not changed. I looked at TEA website today. Everything's about safety, not necessarily COVID, but it goes hand in hand with safety and COVID issues. So we continue to track and monitor, and we'll continue to assess and tweak our practices as needed. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I had a question. I think as time moves on, you have to modify everything like you're doing right now, so will we be ready by the time school's open?
We're ready, sir.
Okay.
For COVID, we're ready.
It looks like you're ready, that's what I'm saying. They picked up everything that was,
Yes, sir.
they went up, everything went up on the.
The cases are going up, sir. I mean, fortunately, right now, there
As
are
soon
no...
as they come back, I think it's gonna be a little higher.
Yes, sir.
Or a lot higher, I don't
We
know.
probably anticipate that. Yes,
I hope
sir.
not.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item C, 2021 delinquent taxes, turned over to delinquent tax attorneys for collections.
Good evening, Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, members of the audience. We bring the 2021 taxes to our delinquents. We turn them over to our delinquents tax collection firm of Castillo, Reyes, and Del Rio Law Group. We are turning over our, for 2021 current year taxes of 3.2 million, our prior year taxes of 3.2 million, for a total of delinquent taxes to them for 6.5 million. Okay, so Ms. Del Rio is here from the law group in case you have any questions.
Mr. Molina?
Good evening, members of the board,
Hello.
Superintendent Gonzalez, co-counsel. Yes, we're more than ready to take them on. As you all know, right now, we are facing some difficult financial times with our taxpayers, and we're doing everything we can to reach out to them. We're currently working with the UISD Police Department on pursuing business personal property delinquent taxes. Made several visits this week and a successful collection on a couple of them. But it's hard. It's been hard, and of course, we've been doing title searches the last couple of months in anticipation of the handover of the delinquent taxes on the residential accounts. We filed over 100 lawsuits already this month and are still continuing to work on them. But, you know, we talk to taxpayers every day, and we're feeling their struggle, but we're still doing everything that we can to collect for the district and for our students.
That looked like a record, the amount. You know, I don't remember seeing that much, but and a lot of people don't have any money to pay taxes right now.
It's hard. A couple of years ago, last 2 years, we had record collections because of the COVID supplement given by the government and the businesses, and the district was very lucky to get that, and we're lucky that we're fortunate that the district was able to collect on that. And this year, it's a little bit different, but we're doing everything that we can for the district.
Thank you.
Any questions I can answer for you?
Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Rick?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item D, review of legal policies, TASB updates, 2019.
Yes, once again, we bring some policies before you. These are all legal policies. They have been reviewed by our administrative team. I do want to make one recommendation, Mr. Garcia, and hopefully that would be allowed, but it is policy DMA. Let me just double check that one. DMA local. It is a new policy, and basically what that policy says in a nutshell is that we are having to bring in our staff development plan policy to our board prior to August the 1st. And in addition to that, bring our staff development or professional development plan to you all for approval, preferably by August the 1st as well. So I am asking that at least we pull DMA local and bring that as a first and final reading after reviewing those policies. That kind of stuck out to me so that we can be in compliance with the statute.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right? And everything else is just a legal review for you all.
Okay, thank you. Item E, notice of grant applications that may be submitted on behalf of the district.
Good evening, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Molina. The Division of Finance has 5 grants to present to you that we're working on with various departments in the school district. The first one is the new instructional facilities allotment. We get $1,000 for enrollment based off of ADA for new schools, which is obviously Mr. Molina Middle School and Roberto J. Santos Year 2. So we're anticipating $711,000 for that funding. Then we have Perkins 5, the Strengthening Career and Technology Education 21st Century Grant. We're anticipating $565,900 for that grant. The next grant is a Special Education Consolidated Grant Application for special ed funding, and we're anticipating $6,834,127 for the IDLB Formula Grant and $39,994 for IDLB Preschool Grant. The next grant is the Text Education for Homeless Children. It's a Techie grant. This is for students who are homeless, and we're anticipating getting $46,690. The last grant is a Strong Foundation Math and Literacy Framework Development Grant. This helps us develop a learning framework and an understanding of how students learn math and reading, and the amount is still to be determined. But those are the grants that we're working on at this point.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Item F, federal and state programs, grant update for 2021 for 21 CCLC grant.
Good evening, Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Garcia, members of the audience. Rebecca Morales for the record, Executive Director of Federal and State Programs. We are submitting on behalf of the district continuation funding for our 21st Century Grant. That is the grant, the 5-year grant that we received to offer after-school program services to our 8 LBJ elementary schools. Remember, this is tuition-free for our families at those elementary campuses. So this will be year 2 of funding, and we are expected to receive about $1.3 million to continue the program. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Item G, progress report on the solar panel project.
Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Garcia, and members of the audience, good afternoon. What I'm going to go ahead and present to you is an update as to the solar photovoltaic project that we're considering for the district. The project objective in this case is obviously to go ahead and reduce cost. How do we anticipate in doing this? It'll be by the means of installing, in this case, solar panels. And in this case, we're considering 2 schools that we would go ahead and pilot test this. That would be, in this case, the Molina Middle School and or also San Isidro Elementary School. And the funding that we would be considering for this right here, it would be, in this case, energy savings performance bonds. Actually, contract. How do we plan as such? How would this project as such go ahead and reduce the cost? There's 2 items that we're considering. One of them is the fact that we would go ahead and have a fixed kilowatt hour based on this. Why? Because of the energy that would be generated. And the second item that we would have in this case would be the fact of shifting, in this case, the peak demand. The U.S. Department of Energy, they go ahead and they have multiple different alternatives to go ahead and how to approach, in this case, solar project. In this case, there's 5 different alternatives. We did not take these 3 into consideration because of the fact that they require capital investments. On the next one right here, this is the one that we were considering, and this is, like I mentioned, it's a power purchase agreement, which in this case is an energy savings contract that we would go ahead get into. What is the reasoning or why did we go with this, or we're considering this route? Is one, they would require no capital investment. Second, in this case, it would be the solar companies that would be responsible, in this case, for the maintenance, repairs, and operation of these units. And obviously, in this case, we would have the advantage of maintaining the current kilowatt cost, which in this case, the district has a very attractive the cost per kilowatt hour. So it would be maintained over the period of the 20 years of this project. In order to do this, we would go ahead and have to enter into an energy savings performance contract, which is what I was mentioning. This right here, there are, in this case, state and also local, the district requirements that we have to meet. In this case, it requires for us to go ahead and have an RFQ, by which we would have an independent MEP engineer that would actually be the one that would be going ahead and preparing, in this case, the RFQ for the energy providers or the energy savings providers, and also they would be doing the analysis. We also go ahead and, aside from this, we would require, you'll be looking at the second item that is highlighted there. All of this documentation would have to be gone ahead and be approved by in this case, the State Energy Conservation Organizations, by SECO. So that is one of the requirements that we have to go ahead and entertain as we go into this project. How would the energy, or how is it that we would go ahead and the district benefit from this? If you look at this right here, you will notice that we have, in this case, This right here is where the district is. We would go ahead and have energy generation being done by the solar panel, which would be substituting part of the energy that we'd be getting from our local provider. When we do that, the actual billing or the net amount that we would be getting or that we would be utilizing from an external source would be what would be billed in our case. That would be where we would get part of this energy savings that we would have for the district. On the next one, this is a normal curve that you would see on energy generation. You'll notice that in this case, this area right here, this gray area would indicates the consumption that we would have on the district or wherever the client is. This would be the solar energy. In this case, it starts from midnight all the way until 1 o'clock in the morning. And this is the solar energy that we would be going ahead and be accumulating or getting from the solar panels. I emphasize this because we do not have plans on having, in this case, a power pack. And the reason for that is the fact that if we would store energy, it would increase the investment, in this case, and the recovery over 50 to 60%. So we are basically just going ahead and our main purpose is going ahead and displacing kilowatt hours and shifting the peak demand.
So in case the lights go out, there's not gonna be any backup, or we have generators in place?
It would be like it is right now, sir. We would not have any backup. The main reason for this is what we're trying to do here, it's not actually, it's not a safety or a replacement for our existing power. What we're trying to do is actually reduce the cost of our energy operating costs by the two means that I mentioned. Going ahead and having a fixed cost for our kilowatt hours, and second, displacing our peak demand. We are not as such going ahead and having this as a backup system. It is actually just a cost energy project, sir.
It's a pilot program, right?
Yes, we're considering this to be a pilot program before.
For two schools?
Yes, and the reasoning behind this, Mr. Molina, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but the reasoning behind this, why did we select these two different schools? Because these two schools are actually, in this case, what do they call them? Prototype schools. And if the project, we would go ahead and do it on these two schools. One is a middle school, one is an elementary school. Should this project go ahead and deliver the expected savings that we're doing, we could automatically we would already have, in this case, a good example of what we can expect from the other elementary schools that are similar to these.
Or high schools?
Elementaries,
or, if it pans out the way it's supposed to pan out, you can go middle school, you can go to high school. What I hear, the company is pretty well known. I don't understand why the state had to, when it's a pilot program, and the state didn't put in anything, except they're gonna come and hook to the box and deliver energy. If it doesn't work, they just unplug and leave. So there's no money in between, only time, because every day we wait, it's money that we're not earning for United. Because it's a pilot program. If it's gonna be a major program like the windmills and the solar panels over there on outside in the county things, we never see any returns. We will see returns on this. That's why I was searching, if they could move on the application of whatever you need to do, because I could see, like I repeat myself, on where we would have to invest millions of dollars. We're not gonna invest a penny. They're gonna put everything up. It doesn't pan out, they take everything off. So I don't see the hold up, I don't see the dramatic side of the state and the state and the state. The state ain't gonna do anything. They're not gonna put a penny. They're not gonna do anything. So that's what I'm saying. If it's a pilot program, why not just pilot it and that's it? And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't.
Let me explain to you, because maybe I did not go ahead and express myself correctly, sir. It is a pilot program, sir. The only thing is that this pilot program actually entails a commitment for 20 years. See, the reason we are doing this is an energy savings performance contract.
What I understood, it was for what, a year? Those two schools, they don't work? They unplug and they leave. They don't have a 10-year commitment. That's what they told me. I don't know what they told you. So I just want you, if it's a pilot, if it was a regular program, we would put it all over United. We wouldn't even be using to schools.
I'm sorry, but
It's not like a 10-year commitment. How are you going to commit to 2 schools for 10 years? How explain that to me?
Well, the pilot works, sir, then we're going to look at the evaluated, and we can expand. Mr. Menchaca, this time, why don't you go over the timeline?
Yes.
Mr. Molina gives the timeline.
let me go ahead and,
Let's forward to the timeline.
This right here actually explains, this is an aggressive timeline in order to be able to achieve this project. Currently, right now, the first step that we have, if you look at it, okay, we've gone ahead and, tomorrow, we're set to receive the RFQ for the MEP. That is one of the first requirements that we have in any kind of energy savings project. So that is an independent MEP that will be receiving RFQ so that we can go ahead and analyze them. And then once we go ahead and we go ahead and plan to, on the 20th, we'll be evaluating them. On the 17th, the 17th of next month, we will be approaching in this case, the board, to present the proposed, in this case, MEP for approval. Once we do that, then they have to go ahead and prepare, in this case, the RFQ for this energy project, okay? We will entail within this specification, they also have to include also, in this case, they have to do a preliminary utility assessment. Once these companies that are interested in providing the service to us, this will be analyzed. And once we gone ahead and analyze and select who will be the energy savings company that would be going ahead and providing the service, they then have to prepare, in this case, a very thorough, in this case, utility assessment report. This utility assessment report and the contract and measurements and verification requirements have to be prepared and presented to CECO. Why? And the reason for all of this is the fact that we are going to be using, in this case, an energy savings performance contract. That is by law that we have to do that. So that entails, that right there is one of the reasons why you'll notice that if we go into this area, when they go ahead and prepare this report, it's taking them, this portion right here is going to be taking them about 10 weeks. After they've gone ahead and prepared all of this, then it has to be analyzed by the independent MEP that we've gone ahead and that we would have contracted, and they have to go ahead, work together with CECO to verify that all of these, in this case, commitments that are on the contract that this company is guaranteeing to us, and that's the reason CECO gets involved, is the fact that they want to make sure that the school districts are not, as such, affected by companies that will not comply with these contracts that they have been made. So this is, and again, I emphasize, so it take them about 10 weeks from here. Once we do that, by June the 17th, they would have finished. We will bring it to the board on the 21st, and by the 19th of July, we would be able to go ahead and award this contract. Then 4 weeks later, we anticipate that they would start. That would give them ample time for them to procure the parts. So in essence, what we're looking for this pilot project, where the start of the installation would actually be about 13 months away.
Okay.
Any questions?
You don't want to hear more questions.
Mr. Molina, I can assure you, our staff's worked many, many hours on this, and we need to comply with the state requirements. And obviously, they're asking for, they need to approve the engineering, and we just have to follow the letter by the law. So I wish we could do it sooner, but this is really the best proposal we can put forward at this time. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item H, progress report on the ESSER 3 funds projected for district-wide supplies and installations of UVC lamps on the air conditioner equipment.
Again, Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, Mr. Garcia, and members of the audience, well, I'd like to go ahead and provide you a progress report as to what is happening right now on the UVC germicidal light lamps that will be going installed on the HVAC systems. The project as such has remained the same. The only thing that I am emphasizing on this presentation, on this slide right here, you'll notice the what is in red text. Originally, when we went ahead and considered this project, we considered the fact of introducing these UVC germicidal lights inside, in this case, the air handling units, so that they could go ahead and provide a dual purpose. First purpose, and most important, is the fact that during the first pass of the air going through it, it would go ahead and neutralize 90% of the COVID virus that would be in that airstream. The second item that we had right there was the fact that the irradiation of this UVC lights would also go ahead and treat, in this case, the cooling coil of the unit. Unfortunately, these lights, when the engineering company went ahead and did the analysis, it would actually deteriorate also the interior parts of the unit. So that's the reason why we had to go ahead and not install them inside the units, but they will be actually installed on the return air duct, still going ahead and improving the indoor air quality. Here again, these are some of the recommendations by the CDC. And here you'll notice that they went ahead and said, go ahead and increase the outside air, which we have done in every single campus in the district. Going ahead and improving the filtration system, going from a MERV 8 to a MERV 13. We have done that also in every single air handler unit that affects any of the rooms or the classrooms where we have our students. It also goes ahead and mentions, in this case, providing HEPA filtration if possible. We have gone ahead and provided HEPA filtration portable units that also are equipped with UVC germicidal lighting in them. And in these, we have done them in the most vulnerable areas, in this case being the nurse stations, being the special ed classroom, and also the first graders. And then subsequently it said, well, can you go ahead and also improve the quality of the air, which is the installation of this UVC germicidal light, which we are on track. Again, well, I think I've already explained the fact that basically this light goes ahead and kills, in this case, the germs. This is an example as to how it was originally considered. We would go ahead and, in this case, install them within the air handler units. What we're having to do here, if you can imagine this to be a duct, we are now going to go ahead and install, in this case, the lamps will be installed perpendicular to the flow of the air, so we can go ahead and neutralize the virus as it goes through it. These are just the distribution of how many air handlers were estimated for the whole district. Estimated costs were about $7 million. And in this case, this is the status and as such as to where we stand on this project. We are, in this case, we have gone ahead and received proposals that were received in this case on the 6th of July. And in this case, we have plans to go ahead and evaluate this on the 21st. Hopefully, if everything goes as we have it planned right now, we will be going ahead and start on the 16th of September, which a memorable day, the 16th of September, we'll go ahead and start installing these lamps. Any questions?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Agenda item 4A, approval of monthly disbursements.
Sir, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Molina, the Division of Finance is presenting you all with the disbursements for the month of June. You received them in your Friday packet. I was wondering if y'all had any questions over these disbursements.
I don't. Ms. Molina?
Thank you.
Thank you. Item B, approval of property tax refunds for the month of June 2022.
Yes, good evening. We bring to you the June refunds. We only have one for Cascade Financial Service for $551.83. It's an erroneous payment. There's no loss of revenue to the district. Do you have any questions?
No, thank you. Item C, approval of submissions of the certified estimate 2022 debt collection rate and certified excessive debts collections for 2021.
Yes, we bring this to you every year. We anticipate that we will collect 101% of the debt service collection rate from September 1st, 2021 through August 31st, 2023. We also are bringing to you certifying the excess collections that we collected on the debt service side, which is $428,000 $236,000 from July 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2022. Do you have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
D, approval of contract with Webb County Election Administrator to conduct November 8th, 2022 elections.
Yes, we bring to you also this contract with the elections, with the Webb County Elections Administrator. It is recommended that the Board of Trustees approve to authorize the Webb County Elections Administrator to conduct the elections of single-member districts 3, 5, and 6 of the United Independent School District for the November 8th, 2022 election. Also, the Schedule F for early voting and the Schedule G for Election Day, it might change, because it hasn't been approved by the Webb County Commission's Court. Do you have any questions?
So this will be in conjunction with item E, the approval of order elections for the 3 districts?
Yeah, the second item will be the order of the elections, yes, so, do you want me to read, do you want to read that, or?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you. Item F, approval of amendments for number 1 and to design building contract with Line Deck Construction of Texas, Inc. for Clark Elementary School replacement to increase the contract guaranteed maximum price amount for the cost increases for additional site work required, utilities, infrastructure installation.
Good evening, Mr. Rodriguez and Mr. Molina. Cordela Jackson for the record. This is an amendment to increase the GMP by $381,641.70. And this is for some additional feet of imported fill that needed to be provided for this campus that is currently under construction.
And this is something because was not included in there, or?
It was due to when they got in there, it was due to the quality of the soil. But if you.
Yes, there was some imported soil that was required to fulfill, and that's where some of the difference was. We usually anticipate beforehand like around 3 to 4 feet of pad fill, but in this case, we were almost at 6.5 feet.
Mr. Molina?
Mr. Lanisco, when are Clark supposed to be constructed? They already started?
We started, yes, we have a foundation permit to start already with a pad.
Was it going to be 2 years?
It's, yes, 2024.
Just so you know, gentlemen, these items are coming up, they went through the Bond Oversight Committee as well.
It's going to be the same for the next couple of items. They all went to the bond
Same
oversight.
thing, so let's go with item G, approval of amendment of number 1 to design building contract with Line Deck Construction, Texas, Inc. for Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School to decrease the contract guaranteed maximum price amount for the deletion of the allowance of instructional technology, infrastructure, and equipment.
So what this agenda item is, it's a decrease in the GMP. The GMP had an allowance. It wasn't a set amount, but it was an allowance for all of the technology infrastructure, which was $1,155,000. We're asking to delete that allowance and to allow the district to then bid it out ourselves with our E-rate project. So Mr. Hector Perez is here to discuss the project further if need be.
Thank you. Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez. Basically, what we're trying to do, sir, is take that away from Lion Decker, the amount that was allocated to them, so that we can bid Clark Elementary and Ramirez together, so we can get some bulk pricing. In addition to that, it gives us the opportunity to apply for E-rate funds to get some discounts. If it's under the contractor right now, there's, as you can see, the prices have been going up drastically. I think we as a district have more purchasing power when it comes to buying in bulk amounts like that. And we get additional discounts that the contractors don't get. So that's why we're asking for that opportunity.
In a nutshell, we're eliminating the middleman. In this case, happens to be Line Decker Construction. That's what it comes down to.
We will take care of it ourselves. And we will submit all the paperwork. Hopefully, E-rate will fund us. We're applying for Molina also as well. We would apply for Ramirez and for Clark.
So that would be the same thing that we would be talking about for
Yes, sir.
item H also. So it would be the same thing, right?
What's item H?
I like
Item
it.
H would be also for the technology infrastructure.
Yes.
And equipment installation.
Yes, sir.
So
Anyway, there's too
it'll
much money flying around,
Yeah.
all the construction stuff.
be for both schools, as you can say, Ramirez and Molina.
Yeah, well, actually, on item H, it's a price increase, since they already have the contract. This is for Molina, right? Yeah, this for Molina. What happened is the contractor was allocated a certain amount, but the prices on copper, on the cabling, and the network switches has been going up. So as part of their contract, the district has to allocate more money for that. So we're trying to avoid that happening at Ramirez, what is happening at Molina. Hopefully, we'll be able to bring it at that amount or less, even with the discounts. All of that was presented to the Bond Oversight Committee and was approved by them for your consideration.
You can consider Clark also when they build it, on that?
I'm sorry, sir?
Clark,
Uh-huh.
they're gonna build Clark. You
Yes.
can go like in what you're trying to do at Clark, it's not yet built.
Yeah.
So, just.
No, Clark, we will have a specific allocation amount, and we will be applying for funds from E-rate, from the government, to hopefully get some big discounts. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Item I, approval of CSP 2022-019 construction of Aguero Boulevard extension and related infrastructure for United ISD New Middle School, Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School.
This is for the approval of Line Decker Construction as the awarded vendor for the construction of Vaquero Boulevard extension and related infrastructure for the Juan Roberto Ramirez Middle School in the amount of $2,330,000, which includes a $150,000 contingency and a $5,000 voluntary reduction. This was also presented to the Bond Oversight.
Also. We're good, thank you. Item J, approval of awarding bids, proposals, and qualifications.
Can you go to the summary? Okay. For your approval, we have RFP 2022-031, cleaning supplies for custodial department. The recommended vendor is Gulf Coast Paper in the amount of $800,000 a year. RFP 2022-012, library books and educational materials and supplies to the vendors listed. RFP 2022-013, charter bus services to the vendors listed. RFP 2022-024, band instrument repairs to the vendors listed in the summary sheet. RFP 2022-039, band supplies to the vendors listed. We also have RFP 2022-029, labor and materials for minor maintenance repairs and placements for thermostat and moisture control to American Contracting and Roofing, as well as Quantum Construction. And then we have various renewals for your consideration as well. So those renewals were approved last year, and this is just a renewal for the following year.
Molina, questions? No?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item K, approval of interlocal cooperation agreement between the UISD, ISD, and United ISD and the City of Laredo for shared data.
Once again, good evening, members of the board, members of the audience, and Mr. Gonzalez and attorneys. This is not a new agreement. It is updated, has been revised with some new signatures, specifically our superintendent and our chief of police and some city officials as well for the interim department city managers. This, basically what it does is that it gives access to Laredo police officers, so Laredo PD at the real-time crime center to access the cameras that are on our campuses, on our property. And so they're very, very specific. They're not like watched completely because they have to ask for the approval of that. But it is on certain conditions. So when you see the conditions on page 3 of 9 of the contract, or page 224, you will see that they will be able to utilize them when the city's police department receives a call for police assistance from a UISD school. So if there's something going on at our campuses, they can actually access our cameras. They have the real-time, if you have not seen that real-time crime center at the Laredo Police Department, it's very impressive where they are looking at city cameras. They can hone in into our specific campus cameras as well, whether it be outside the perimeter or inside the actual hallways of our schools. The second item there, that if the city of Laredo receives a call for police assistance from any person regarding an activity, a criminal activity in one of our campuses, they have access to the cameras as well. Any alarm of any kind, fire, burglar, or panic, was received from a UISD school. A human or natural hazard is reported or observed on or around school property, and it's also to facilitate tactical view of a particular building due to a police response to a potentially dangerous situation. Sometimes when they're conducting their investigations as well, they will ask us for permission to access some of our cameras. If there was a car accident, if there was an auto pedestrian accident or so forth, they will access and have the capability to view our cameras. So we just want to bring this up so that our signatures are current.
Good.
Second.
Thank you. Item L, approval of interlocal agreement between Webb County and United ISD for the juvenile JP Corps coordinator.
These are for our two court coordinators who are housed with Bobby Quintana and with the Honorable Jose Pepe Salinas as well. We have updated the salaries as per the new pay raise that you all, thank you so much for that pay raise. And so they have been updated to indicate that the county pays 50% and we pay the other 50% of their salaries for these individuals to coordinate our juvenile truancy cases at the courthouses.
Thank you. Item M, approval of optional flexible school days programs for 2022-2023 school year and to continue and pass positive approach to student success program for Johnson High School and United High School.
We have the application completed and ready to go and ready to submit to our state. I just want to give you a little bit of an overview with regards to that. Per Education Code 29.0822, students are able to participate in an optional flexible school day program, which allows the districts the opportunity to provide for flexible hours and flexible days. We do not do flexible days. We come to school Monday through Friday, all of our students who will be in this program, but there are flexible hours, and we do a 4-hour shift. We do 8 to 12, or we do 12:30 to 4:30 for our particular students. And these are very select individual students who are handpicked, so to speak, for these particular programs. And these are for at-risk students who are at risk for dropping out of school, or they are denied credit in one or more class that will not allow them to complete their schooling. And so we have individual students who sometimes go to school in the afternoons because they work. They work till 2 o'clock in the morning or so forth, so they go in at noon. And then our other group of students, sometimes our mothers have only daycare for the morning hours, so they go in same time with a little bit of flexible schedule, and they do all of their classroom instructions in another type of a setting through Odysseyware. And so this is the second year that we would have it at South High School. LBJ High School is in its fifth year of implementation. It has been, it was a little lower, our participation rate at both of these schools, because we had a lot of absences because of COVID. And so I'm going to attribute it to that. But overall, in a nutshell, we had 12 individual students who we recaptured and we graduated. And so 6 from each school. And anytime I think we graduate a particular student, to me, that's success within itself. All right, so we're ready to go with this particular application with your approval.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Mueller. Thank you. Item N, first reading to TASB, update 119, local policy.
These are only the first readings. We bring them for you for review with our administrative staff. There are 7 replacement policies, 2 new policies. Again, I will make that recommendation for DMA local, professional development, required staff development, to be moved to first and final reading at the next, hopefully for next week's board meeting, so that we can comply with the statute. And that's it for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item O, approval of EdFlex school-wide eligibility waiver for 22-23.
Good evening once again. I'm bringing to you for your consideration approval of an EdFlex waiver, a school-wide eligibility waiver to submit for this coming school year, 22-23, for Colonel Santos Elementary. State and federal law says that we can only operate a Title I school-wide campus if the campus has a minimum of 40% economically disadvantaged students. Colonel Santos did not meet that threshold. However, if they are over 35% economically disadvantaged, then we are able to submit an EdFlex waiver to the state in order to operate a school-wide campus. So with your approval, we will be submitting for that recommendation from the state.
Mr. Molina? Thank you.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Approval of appraisers for 2022-2023 school year.
Good evening, Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, and members of the audience. This is a yearly process that Human Resources brings the administrators that will be appraising our teachers this coming year. You have a list of all the ones that have already completed their T-test requirements.
Mr. Molina? Good.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Approval of dispositions for affordable buildings.
Yes, good evening, Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, and members of the audience. At this time, we bring before you the request for the approval of disposition of portable buildings district-wide as listed in the attachment.
52?
Yes, sir, 52. They range anywhere from, in antiquity, from 1991 to 2007.
Cost a lot of money to repair them.
I'm sorry, sir?
It would definitely cost a lot of money to repair them.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that was a list that was provided to us by Mr. Peña from the Facilities Department, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Item R, approval of request of board members, use of trustees' discretionary funds for various campuses and departments.
Mr. Molina, Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Gonzalez, members of the audience, we are towards the end of our fiscal year, so the funds for discretionary are at its end. We do only have one request, and any new request will be presented at the board meeting.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Good night.